We're here at Mainline Stand-Up PRI 2014 with Tony Palo from T1 Race, and Tony was the first person anywhere in the world to be using one of Mainline's new Pro Hub 4000 dynos. And dyno technology's come a long way. Obviously engine power is continuing to increase, and Tony, you're kind of at that forefront of GTR tuning among just about everything else, and you already had a mainline four-wheel drive rolling road. The rolling roads are great, they're easy to use, they're easy to get the cars on and off. Where did you find the limitations of that dyno with your high-powered GTRs?
The GTR has a little bit of uniqueness to it in that past 900 to 1,000 horsepower, we would tend to dyno them rear-wheel drive so it didn't hurt the forward clutch. And so that just made the problem worse because now we're putting all the power through two tires. So, you know, realistically, above about 1,000 horsepower, we started having to get pretty creative with tires and pressures and how it was strapped and whatnot. And everything that we build pretty much is over 1,000 horsepower now. So I would kind of, you know, tune them until I couldn't accurately measure them and view comparisons anymore, and then send them down the road. So with this dyno, we've been able to fully dial in everything. I found another 200 horsepower in my car from where I thought it was good to where I actually ended up from being able to see back-to-back results.
Now, let's talk about that a little bit. Obviously, particularly with the high-end drag cars, and I mean, I know a lot of your 1,000+ horsepower GTRs are just pure street cars. With a lot of the high horsepower drag cars, and I'm talking Pro Mod, etc., they never go anywhere near a dyno. Those cars are literally dialed in at the track. So I'm guessing you're doing your tuning before you had that hub dyno via data analysis, that sort of thing. Where did you find that extra 200 horsepower was hiding when you got a chance to really see it on the dyno?
Dialing in fuel's one thing. You know what you want it to be at, you can do that on the track easily. Optimizing ignition timing on the track is kind of sketchy. For one, you have to get consistent track runs, and that's another variable in itself. The track changes, the boost changes. So it makes it really hard to dial in cam timing and ignition timing, where you take the track conditions out of it and put it on the dyno, and found out that I could run a lot more timing and a lot different cam timing than I was.
Now, even with the cars around that 1,000 horsepower where you were able to run them on a rolling road, what sort of back-to-back consistency were you seeing with those cars? So, if you do two runs back-to-back with no changes made to the tune, were you getting really accurate back-to-back runs?
Spin was the only variable, really. So if it was right on the edge, then it could vary. If everything was right and you had it strapped just right and the ramp set just right and there was no spin back-to-back, the dynos, it reads extremely consistent, but spin is such a huge variable. So, we're in the lower end of people that need this dyno. These guys don't even think about trying to put something on a dyno, and now all of a sudden you don't need an engine dyno. So it's the more anything over 1,000 and the higher you go, the more beneficial something like this becomes.
Now, just talking about that, you say obviously 2,000 horsepower, you're really not stressing this Pro Hub 4000 at all with your GTRs, and the car we've got behind us, a Pro Extreme car, which is closer to 4,000. Again, we've said traditionally these guys, Pro Mod style cars, haven't been using dynos, they tune at the track. The fact you've picked up 200 horsepower on a car making 2,000, what do you see that's going to mean for that Pro Extreme style of drag racing over the next few years as people start adopting these styles of dyno?
Oh, as they're able to quantify what they're doing and test different cams and test different intake manifold combinations and dial in the tune, they're only going to get faster. Some of these guys are putting them on an engine dyno and doing all this, but a lot of them aren't. This car's already been 370 in the 8th, and it hasn't been on any kind of dyno at all. So there has to be a lot to be had. You don't get it right just like that without.
I guess the other thing about it as well is these guys don't have to go to the track and burn up a whole bunch of parts and a whole bunch of runs trying to dial in a tune. They can know that when the car rolls out of the transporter, it's been dynoed and everything's just going to be right. They can go down the track with that confidence that the car's going to perform right.
Yeah, the track needs to be for dialing in the chassis and the boost and, not worrying about tuning the engine.
All right, look, thanks for letting us know about your own experiences with the Pro Hub Dyno. It's certainly going to be a game changer, I think, for those out there running that big horsepower. Thanks for the chat, Tony.
Yep, thank you.
For online tuning courses, visit learntotune.com.